India has cemented itself among the world's most powerful countries, now surpassing long-time global powers including the United Kingdom, France, and even Russia. With the growing might of the Indian military as well as its economy, sees India climbing the global top 10 rankings. New Delhi's geopolitical rivals, including Pakistan and even Turkey, are far behind. But are they even in the top 10 rankings? The 2024 Power Rankings by Ray Dalio measures the most paramount drivers of a nation's power, including military force and economic prosperity, as well as innovation potential and international spread. India currently ranks 7th among the top 24 nations assessed. Despite being a developing nation with a huge future potential, even the current 7th rank reflects its runaway economic energy as well as geostrategic projection. Of course, the global list is led by the United States of America with a military budget more than the other top 7 nations combined. There's no surprise that the US continues to dominate world order. China is in the second spot as the only other nation capable of challenging the UK, but still it is considerably behind America in terms of total strength of its economy as well as military. The combined Eurozone has been placed in third spot, though a history of major wars always casts doubts over any long-term European unity in case of a conflict. Germany is the highest ranked European nation in 4th spot, while Asian nations Japan and South Korea are in 5th and 6th respectively. However, they have a very marginal lead over India in 7th spot, and New Delhi can be expected to easily climb these rankings in the years ahead. Former colonial power, the United Kingdom, has now been ranked below India in 8th spot. Meanwhile, France is in 9th position, while Russia, despite the 3-year war in Ukraine as well as crippling Western sanctions, maintains its spot in the global power list, coming in at 10th. The top 10 ranking by Ray Dalio is an acknowledgement of India's steady rise. However, just last month, the Global Firepower Index rankings placed India as the 4th most powerful nation in the world. So different rankings all place India well in the top 10 global list. Even in the midst of a global economic slowdown, India's steady 6% or more annual growth rate makes it the fastest growing large economy in the world. India's growth rate is faster than China and the US and will surely close the gap on the top 2 over time. India, in fact, will soon overtake Japan to become the 4th largest economy in the world, and before 2030, the 3rd biggest economy, surpassing even Germany. But it's India's military might which is gaining global attention. The Indian Army is among the biggest in the world with more than 1.2 million active duty personnel. The Indian Navy has over 100 warships and is the most powerful not just in South Asia but the entire Indian Ocean region. The Indian Air Force is in the middle of a massive overhaul and will be adding 400 to 500 new fighter jets over the next decade. With a powerful nuclear triad and a $75 billion defense budget, India outguns the likes of UK and France in sheer military might. From indigenous aircraft carriers to cutting-edge hypersonic missile systems, India is going all out for self-reliance in defense manufacturing, emerging as a global security provider. Apart from military might, India's strategic diplomacy has placed it at the 3rd spot of Asia's power hierarchy, according to the Lowy Institute Power Rankings. Prime Minister Modi's leadership has seen India become a leader of the global south while still maintaining strategic autonomy in a turbulent world. As the world shifts towards a new order, India's rise foretells a seismic shift in global geopolitics. Within 80 years of independence from colonial rule, India has now surpassed Britain. While the UK still has strong financial markets, cultural influence, and historical clout, post-Brexit economic challenges and fluctuating global influence relative to emerging economies and powers like India have weighed on its ranking. France remains a powerful world player but has been overtaken by India's rapid economic growth. While Paris possesses military power, diplomatic influence, and economic stability, its smaller economy and population base compared to India limit its reach globally. Russia, once a dominant global power, has seen its ranking decline due to economic sanctions, the Ukraine war, and a divided world order. Despite having enormous natural resources and a powerful military, its geopolitical isolation has placed it behind India. Meanwhile, Pakistan's international status remains limited by its economic instability, sluggish technological development, as well as ever-growing internal turmoil and instability, keeping it firmly outside the top 10 rankings. Reflecting its limited global extent, despite possessing 170 nuclear warheads and soon fifth-generation stealth aircraft, its $8 billion defense expenditure is dwarfed by that of India at $75 billion. With a GDP of just $376 billion, less than one-tenth of India's, the country is plagued by chronic financial instability, relying on IMF bailouts and surging foreign debt, reaching $131 billion. Despite competitive labor costs, Islamabad's subpar infrastructure and political turmoil limit its economic growth. Technologically, Pakistan is far behind the world leaders, investing a paltry 0.3% of GDP in research and development, with IT exports of a mere $3 billion, which is chicken feed compared to India's $250 billion. Even Turkey, with its geographical advantage and military projection, also remains outside the top 10. Economic instability and lack of any significant global financial or technological leadership keep it far away from reaching the higher echelons of global power elite. India's rapid ascent to world power rankings is a dramatic shift of its global influence. Being the world's fifth largest economy with a rising geopolitical power, India is ready to upset traditional superpowers. But what do you believe? Has India emerged as a 21st century superpower? The highly anticipated GE F404 engines for the Tejas Mark 1As or Tejas Alpha are finally landing in India, and that's a huge deal in India's military aviation. The initial engine is being subject to final checks at GE Aerospace in America before arriving by freight in April 2025. Meanwhile, HAL's Nasik complex is working overtime to make Tejas Mk1As, and 3 to 4 fighters are nearing completion. In Bengaluru, flight trials are conducted with GE Cat B engines. The induction of the F404 engines, however, will consolidate India's air power. The indigenous Tejas fighter jets represent a landmark achievement for Indian defense manufacturing. The Cabinet Committee on Security, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, cleared 7,000 crore rupee contract for 307 advanced towed artillery gun systems or ATAGS and 327 towing vehicles for the Indian Army. Developed by the DRDO, these howitzers are 60% manufactured by Bharat Forge and 40% by Tata Advanced Systems. They have a range of 45 to 48 kilometers and state-of-the-art automation. The Indian Army will induct 1,580 of these ATAGs, and export orders already have been booked. In the midst of world conflicts, India is fast-tracking artillery modernization in a boost to its quest to be self-reliant after past import scams. Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to InConnect News.